welcome to Inner Guru Conversations. And I have a very special friend, colleague, like a coach. Together, we studied, we have grown, we have evolved together, and I'm so excited to have him. He's an HR practitioner, he's a coach, he's a speaker, he's an author, and he's creating magic in people's lives, especially when it comes to the field of corporate, and he's changing people's life. I'm so excited and honored to have you, Ketan, over here.
Guru, thank you so much. Pleasure is all mine, and it's always amazing to connect with people who have been in the coaching space and who themselves are transforming your life. In fact, I could grab a copy of your book, and I'm still reading into it. But to all my readers, do not miss Guru's book if you're looking at trying to find a lot of answers, and the inner Guru itself is very enlightening. So, Guru,
Thank you
thank you
so much.
so much for having me here.
I was
Pleasure is
supposed to
mine.
say that regarding your book.
Yeah,
So,
I think coaches and author, we exchange energies, we exchange
correct,
pleasantries, but I thought I'll call that out, and for users, an audience, I think that's going to be an opportunity not going to miss.
correct. Your book is also amazing. It's ordinary to extraordinary, and that is why I think I connect with you on a very. It's called Extraordinary, right? The book name,
It's called extraordinary,
but
yes.
your program is ordinary to extraordinary.
Yeah, the core, I think the core of what I believe in my life philosophy has been. So if you look at $1 Million Employee that I'm working on, if you look at coaching that I do, if you look at the book itself, I think the journey from having some people coming from ordinary backgrounds, ordinary lives. Uh, what I realized is that every time I had somebody in my life, a coach, a mentor, a book, or somebody who asked me a question, an ordinary guy like me got extraordinary results. And that's a belief, that's a mission that I'm carrying for myself, that while we are born ordinary, living ordinary is a choice. Living extraordinary is something each one of us should practice and push ourselves. If I can do it, if I can be now in 2% of the world population by becoming an author, and so are you, I think every single person here who's listening and who's going to come in touch with us should explore the best of themselves and get the best out of life. We've got one shot at it.
That's amazing because a lot of people have today also I posted a post on Instagram saying stop saying the bullshit reasons in your mind which you keep telling yourself, like I don't have education, I don't have support, I don't have money. Like, to your story, even my story, I came from a small town, I was getting into bankruptcy, I was homeless and all this stuff, and now I'm an author. I'm coaching people, I'm running my passion of being an entrepreneur and events, I'm doing my DJing. So it's I think it's truly people need to start believing in themselves. I think that is where the whole magic
Very
happens.
good.
Correct.
True, and I'm glad. I remember when I met you first, and you were standing there on the stage, and I think Ifat or somebody invited you. And when I heard about your story of the ups and the downs and how you emerged out of it and came out of it, I'm sure it was inspirational. I think the good part is each one of us has an opportunity to inspire others, and that's what you are doing. That's what I choose to do through my books and by coaching people.
Yeah,
So
that's true
yeah,
because that's amazing. Because I think that's the main purpose which we are here on this planet to help others. It's only if we only think about ourselves, selfish, and accumulate, and not give back to the world. It doesn't make sense of we living on this planet. I feel. Yes.
true. We are not biologically conditioned for that, and
Correct.
you're right. I think the sense of giving, sense of adding, contributing value to somebody else is
Correct.
phenomenal. I am glad, I'm proud that I got into HR as a profession, which
Correct.
helps me do that. And coaching is like the icing on the cake for me, because when I'm able to go deeper, talk to people, push them, get them, pull them out, and help them realize what they're missing in life. So yeah, proud to do that.
So talking about that, you have been, working with almost, I think up to now, almost 25,000 people in your past few years of experience. What are the few of the challenges were the common challenges which these people have come up with? What are the main challenges which people are usually facing?
So there are, I'll give you five, six top of them, and I'm sure people could relate to that. Now, the biggest one people speak about is problem with their bosses. Now, me having worked with 23 bosses in 13 years, after the initial difficulties, I realized the magic formula, the working of how to actually make it work. And it was not easy. I worked with bosses who were like the first time managers, and I worked with bosses who were like global executives. I was fortunate to get exposure to work with a lot of them. But that was a movement, and I never complained about any of my bosses. I had difficult ones in terms of thought process, thinking, attitude,
Correct.
and different ones. But what I did was I looked at the bright side. I looked at what can I learn from them. See, none of them were going to change for me. And this is the point, first point that I want to tell people: nobody changes for you. If you have to make the dream of yours successful, stop blaming people. Stop
Correct.
giving that excuse. I like when you say that, stop giving this excuse in your head. Take charge and make it happen.
Correct.
Nobody, see, everybody is on the purpose and mission of life.
Yes.
That
Yes.
boss of yours is trying to achieve something. That super boss of yours
There's
is
also
trying to achieve something for themselves. They're not going to change and detour because of you. So
correct.
why should you do that? Figure your ways, navigate through it, and respect people for who they are. Now that's been the biggest realization I had as a coach, that uh, I am unique. So is everybody else. So is Guru. So is every single third, fourth, fifth person. And we are conditioned in a particular way. Our thinking process is different. Our belief system is different. Now, the day you accept people for who you are, it's going to be easier for you to find your ways. Unfortunately, corporate, this is not the conditioning that we get.
Get, yeah.
Corporate is about go through system, somebody will come, your manager is a superhero, your leader is a superhero. I think I want people to throw that out of window. I'm sorry, people may say that how can an HR guy speak like that? But I'm telling you, I've worked with successful people, I've seen them closely. This is something that they do really, really, really well.
Correct. Correct. I'll come back to that point. That's a very interesting point. Before that, something hit my head was like how you said, we need to take charge of our own life. We need to take ownership of our own life. That is very important. That's so powerful. Because me, when I was going through a tough situation, I used to always blame other people. My life changed when I realized whatever is happening in my life is because of me and not of other people. From that moment,
Wow.
once I
Yeah.
started taking ownership of my life, that I am responsible for my own life, that is when my start automatically started going in the right direction. And I think that is what you also help most of your clients and people who come to help to take ownership of your life, correct? That was one thing which was
True. Yeah.
amazing. Another thing is what you spoke about was acceptance, which is also a key. Like people are not happy with themselves, and if they're not happy with themselves, I don't know how will they attract more happiness into their life, which is nearly impossible, correct? So I think these two things are very important. One is ownership, and one you spoke about acceptance, accepting ourselves, at the same time accepting people, for other people, for who they are. So that way we
True.
open up our imagination, we open up that level of understanding of where we are, why we are, what we need to do. So I think it all begins from acceptance. That's amazing. Thank you for bringing that point.
It has been.
And one more thing, what I want to talk, like how we spoke about the corporate world, is it is a rat race at the end of the day. I know, because through the years it has been that way, but now it's changing slowly. I know, but see, for me, whenever it comes to corporate training, you're into corporate training. Do you think people are more into skills? But I feel most of the problems, whatever employees are facing, is more personal. Maybe you think their relationship is not working, or they have some health problems, or they have some past traumas, and that is why it's not letting them perform at their highest potential. What do you think about this?
Wow, glad you asked that, and I definitely, it's a question on which I may come across as a very, I have very strong views and very strong experiences there. And glad, thank you, Guru, for asking that. I am sure it'll help people get a very different perspective. Now, if it, at least I'll tell you for what happened in my life as a school, as a kid, it will the choice. I never choose what did I learn and what do I do with the learning. So I was taught, and an exam is what I had to give. Nothing about my passion, my likings. It was very insignificant. Happiness and purpose was not existing.
Correct.
I come to college. And fortunately, at least my parents never forced me to take a particular course, but we know that happens, right? So then somebody else is deciding that you have to study engineering or medical
Doctor or
or arts
lawyer.
and this, that. External. You get into postgraduate, again, it's a curriculum that you have to go through again and again and again, like because somebody's decided this is important, you do go ahead and do that. Now, this conditioned me very, very hard. Now, when I came to corporate, what was my first stance? That there is somebody who will come and decide what should I learn, what do I do with the learning, and what career path should I choose. I had no goals of my own. I had no agenda of my learning, and this is how corporates, society conditioned, and corporate is reconditioning that. Now, the change happened is when I started working with startups, because in startup, training is not the first thing that gets focused on, because you're still trying to stand on your feet. Now,
Correct.
I realized that if I will wait for my organization to mature and take care of my learning, I would have not grown.
Correct.
And that's a moment that I realized. And I said, why startup? And I speak to people. In fact, that's the second point, that take charge of your growth and learning. Do not over depend upon organization. This is a mistake that we do. And then we complain the training program was not good. It was pathetic. Companies not investing me. Before even reaching there, ask this question. What are you doing for yourself? How much of a time are you investing in yourself? How much money have you invested in your self growth? I was not surprised, but 99.9% people would look at me and saying that I have asked a question which is like I'm doing some crime there. But guys, think about it. Forget about corporate, forget about bosses, forget about organizations. They will do and they will invest when it makes sense to you, and they're right.
Correct.
What makes sense to you is a question that you need to ask for yourself. What do you learn? When do you learn? And what do you do with the learning? First, ask these questions from yourself. If you don't have an answer, stop blaming. Absolutely stop blaming. Otherwise, you will get in that rut of 5%, 6% increment every year and a year.
Correct.
After 10, 20 years of your career, you said, hey, I could not do anything else. Get out of it. You deserve, if you don't invest in yourself, don't expect a return.
Correct.
And if you're not investing, 5% of inflationary increment is what you're going to get. So live with it. Make a choice.
Correct. I think that is the mindset which makes people most successful is they know that to be successful in life they need to invest in themselves. What most of the people are, they're only investing in gold, a house, or car or something like that, nice clothes, but they forget to reach that level. Like if you have to take Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg or who are those Elon Musk or who are the successful people are, if you see the lifestyle, they're not the clothes they wear or the kind of lifestyle. It's not something lavish or glamorous. Their main focus is learning.
Yeah,
Main focus is learning,
brilliant,
self
man.
growth. How much they can learn. That is why I think. See, they also work almost the same kind of hours what we earn. Correct. If you take Elon Musk, maybe 1 or 2 hours they might extend it. So they might work for 16 hours. We might work for 12, 13 hours. But why is that they get
But I think,
100x
yeah,
times more money than we are getting peanuts? Because the kind of value they have, because kind of the discipline they have, because of the kind of, I think, the level of awareness and the consciousness what they have. And I think that is what we as humans have to invest on ourselves to growing our personality and character. And I think you are doing an amazing job being in the corporates, telling them to, like, start investing in yourself, your skills, your mental, your mindset and emotions and all these things. I mean, it plays such an important role. It's sad that these things are not being taught to us from school, from college, or even when it comes to corporate. They don't teach us like how to manage stress, how to handle our emotions, how to handle thoughts. And it's like it makes us like we are robots, and I think we are much more than that.
yeah. And surprisingly, on this learning part, when I ask people, what's the last book that you read? Most of them are blank. And this is a question to the audience also. Guys, this is not to tell you that you're not doing something, but why don't you start with a 10-minute just on a book to begin with? We all started there, but do that. And reading is super powerful. I picked it up very late in my life,
Same.
but from when I picked it up, my life
Life
has been
change.
very, very different. So,
Correct.
guys, on learning, as Guru said, invest in yourself, and I'm saying invest in yourself. First step, if you haven't done it, just pick up a book, 10 minutes every single day, and
Correct.
you will see what magic it does.
It's
Thank
true.
you. Thank you for bringing that out, Guru.
It's true. The first book which changed my life was Synchro Destiny by Deepak Chopra. So I used to never read books. Okay, so when I was going through this tough situation wherein I was into drugs, addictions, I lost my job, I became bankrupt, but business went for a toss. So a friend of mine, she asked me, "Do you read books?" It was I think almost 10, 11 years back, and I said, "No, I don't read books because I never had that habit." And then she told, "Start reading books." She gave me a book by Deepak Chopra called Synchro Destiny, and that was the book which changed my life. It mentioned why certain things happens in your life is for a particular reason. Whatever events is happening in your life, there's nothing called as coincidence. It's happening for a meaning, for a purpose. It's happening to it's there for you to learn something. What most of them they do is they become a victim of it. And even I was like that. I was like, why are things happening like this? Why are people so bad? Why did my dad not there for my support? Why are friends doing this to me? But then I realized that there is some learning in my thinking, sorry, learning in my experience, which I need to be aware about. That is when I started asking questions like, why am I here on this planet? What have I done so that I'm here? From here, where do I want to go? So that is when my thinking changed. And in the later part of the book, he wrote about yoga and meditation and how it opens up your, gives you that awareness to pause for a moment and realize what you're doing in your life and take the required action. And from that moment, my life changed completely. So it's true, yeah. Books are like amazing. And now it's much more easier because there are podcasts, there are so many videos on YouTube, and there's so many things which you can do to gain knowledge. Back then, 15, 20 years
Yeah,
back.
and the options are tremendous, millions. I think with time it has evolved, and with the digital era, if somebody says I don't have content, I think that's the worst form of excuse. The second form of excuse is I don't have time. That's what you have to work and reprioritize your life. But you're true. There are books, there are knowledge, there are podcasts, there are information, there is YouTube video. If you can access through, if you can
There's
spend time on
so
Netflix,
much
I'm
free
sure you can
learning
also
right
spend
now,
time on.
actually. No, if you have to get
Absolutely,
started,
absolutely.
there's so much it's not like back in the days they had to go through all the book and experiment, and then there was ready answers. Only execution is required. Simple as that. Like even you talk about consistency. You talk about a lot. I know I've
Yeah.
seen your videos and your writings in LinkedIn's, and you always talk about consistency. So shed me some light on consistency, how it has helped you.
Okay, I guess that's the mantra of having a life which you want. I always believe that while your dreams are big, your dreams have to be ambitious. Break into smaller steps. That one step, that first step, is the most important step, and one step at a time. What happens is we at times are overwhelmed by looking at the larger picture. But every single person started somewhere. Very few are born with a golden spoon,
Correct.
but most people look at the story of any successful person or any person who inspires you. When I say inspiration, I'll use not use the word successful. Inspiration, they all started with that one single step. And this is something that I have to say: start small, but start now.
Yeah.
We look at have too much spend too much of a time and resource in planning, and once you take that step, I think consistency has worked for me every single time. I believe in the power of daily discipline, the small discipline. If you have the small blocks right, your building would of course come out well.
Correct.
So that's what have happened. One biggest example is this turning to be an author or becoming a blogger. So till last year, before I underwent this entire process of coaching, I was I was not existing on the digital media. Okay, but once, thanks to my coach, thanks to the entire program, thanks to people in mastermind like you and a lot of people, we have helped each other grow. But the first day when I posted, it was difficult. But one promise that I made to myself, and thanks to my coach who said, do it every day. And from then, it's been about what, 8 months. not a single week except 1 week when I had a personal emergency, I have failed writing in the morning. I had all the excuses when I started. When would I write? Full-time job, family to take care of, travel in Bangalore. How do I do I did? Thank you again. A book helped. 5 a.m. club is what I bumped into. I started getting up at 5 a.m. and 5 to 7 is the time when I read and write. But I do it every single day. So your life, and I remember Robin Sharma used to say that your everyday life is the miniature of your overall
Yeah.
journey in life, and it's beautiful. If you don't manage, control, influence, and make your every single day as the best form of your life, you are not going to reach there. If you're thinking that okay, someday it'll happen, not gonna happen. That's how you start. So consistency for everything and anything that you do is non-negotiable. Do not even think that you'll get results, extraordinary results for yourself by not being consistent. I have not seen that happening unless until you're fortunate enough to have a lottery. Keeping that aside, it requires a daily effort, meditation, hard work. We've been taught, and look at every textbook, every story that has inspired us. You will not hear about a single person who's not been consistent and not given up on that small step. So each small step would add to the larger journey that you
That's
want to
true.
create.
It's like said, like even I say in my sessions and stuff, lay one brick at a time, and a year down the line, you'll have a whole building right in front for you. It's just that one
So
single brick which
on the writing, just to give an example, when I started with the first step, and it's been about 8 months. I think I had some 300, 250, 300 posts and blogs that I've written. I crossed a million views some time back. I never thought those numbers, and I still am not bothered about that. But what I ensure is I have to give something to the world every single day, and I don't fail on that. So, and now because it's become a habit, if I don't do it, I feel something is missing. So that's the beauty of if you're able to do something consistently, it becomes a habit, and then becomes your second
yeah,
version. So
yeah. You're
yeah, I'm
doing
glad.
it for the
Thank you
love
for
of
bringing that up.
it becomes a part of
Sorry.
you. Doing it for the love of it. It
Oh,
becomes a part of you. Yes, yes.
true, true,
Great,
true. It
great.
just becomes an extension.
Great. That's a nice session with you, Ketan. It's been amazing to talk with you. It's always fun to talk with you. There's so much comes up. There's so much energy when I talk to you. I get a lot of goosebumps whenever I talk to you. I don't know why. And especially
Thank
in
you.
this episode, I had a lot of goosebump moments. And thank you so much for making time. And hopefully, we'll have another session soon. Something with a new interesting topic to help our viewers. And yes, I'll be in touch with you and take care. And I'll put all your links also along with this video and the podcast, and where people can come and check your work and learn a lot of value from you. So, yes, thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Guru. Have a wonderful day. Bye.